AJ, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, Paul. Happy to be here.
I'm happy to be here as well. This next episode, season two, episode four, if I remember correctly. Beautiful day today. After all that rain in Southern California, we had just an absolute gorgeous day. Blue skies, puffy clouds. It's why we live here. And green hills, beautiful.
It was gorgeous. I had to drive to Pacoima today, and I was upset about it. But then once I got out on the road and the snow in the mountains and the crystal clear air, it was a
Yeah,
gorgeous day.
there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we are, another edition of Vinyl Authority, and we like to share our thoughts about great music on vinyl. And with that, I will let you, AJ,
You,
present your first offering.
this is this came out last year. It is number. I've got. Oh, I didn't even realize they were limited numbered. Oh, it's 11,000. It's not so limited. But I've got number 519 of 11,000 right there.
There you
And
go.
this is Noel Gallagher and the High Flying Birds, Volume One, Back the Way We Came. So Volume One is good because that means he's planning on doing this, staying, true to himself and this band, and we're going to get three or four more records. Now the reason why I pulled this today is because he just um, released a pre-order for his new album. A couple
Yeah.
singles have been out. The first single I love. Second single, I think the first single is called "Pretty Boy," and I love it. The second single I only heard once, and I liked it, but I made the mistake of watching the video, and I'm not a fan of videos per se. So that kind of spoiled me a little bit. But the track sounded good, so I'm excited about it. But anyway,
Yeah.
this is the greatest hits of all of the Noel Gallagher and High Flying Bird records to date. And it is
Great.
freaking brilliant. This is, I mean, I love all of his albums, the solo records anyway. Um, but a collection of the best tracks it's phenomenal. And
Dig it.
yeah, the,
Hmm.
the great liner notes that he wrote about each song. You know what he was. I got a cool limited edition little 8x10 picture with it as well, and the vinyl's super cool. It's black and yellow,
Ooh.
translucent yellow,
Oh, yeah.
and black. So that's fun too. But just a phenomenal collection of songs. Um, his last record, the last studio record, is "Who Built the Moon," and I thought
Hmm.
it was the best record of I think it was 2020 or 2019. Anyway, um, one of my favorite records of the last 10 years. I think it's the best
Right.
thing that he's ever done, honestly. And I'm just a huge fan of. I'm Team Noel, as they say.
Yeah. 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 Well, it's a
So
really
there you
great
go.
looking package.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Someday
Beautiful.
we'll have to talk about how they make those split vinyl
Yes.
records.
That
That's an
one's
art
really
in
right.
itself.
It really is something else, man.
Yeah,
But although now that you gave us the lesson on how the wax is pressed, I've kind of got an idea on how they do it.
it they split the vacuum.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
and
pretty.
they so
It's
they
pretty
they put
spectacular.
a bin of red clear next to a bin of black, and they split the vacuum.
When I purchased it, I didn't really think about. I mean, I knew I wanted the limited edition one, but I didn't really think about this color, like how cool it was going to be. And there's
That's super
something
cool.
super cool about black vinyl, being part of it, right?
Right.
It's spooky. There's something spooky about it. I love it.
You know what I'm thinking, AJ, because I what I love about vinyl records in general is this physicality, right? That it's something to look at, even when you're not playing a record. It's something to read, even if you're not playing the record. But to read it and to listen, of course, is magic. But this the actual vinyl into its own unique piece of art is another discussion point. It's another thing to show. Whereas,
It stays with you too, you know. Like I've this particular cover. Obviously, I mean, I love the music so much, but when I have it on the turntable, it's exciting. You know, it's a
Mhm.
fun thing to look at. And when I put it away and the record is even sitting in the rack, you know, on the floor near my turntables,
Right,
and I look at it, I'm like, oh, I love the vinyl of that. You know, it
right.
stays with me. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, if you've got a download or if you're just listening to a stream, that's all you have is the music. You really don't have anything else. Maybe with the stream, well, some of them might include the lyrics, but by and large, that's all you get, and it's very temporary. And here with all of this physicalness, and you can see it and you can touch it. It's beautiful.
The Who Built the Moon record that I was talking about, that some of the songs are on here. And actually, I think there's a couple of remixes that he uses instead of the original tracks. It's very dance oriented. And this album is a, another classic example of the difference between listening to digital music versus vinyl. The depth and the bass, the richness of this record is, it's like night and day between the, you know, CD and the vinyl. It's just,
Yeah,
it's night
yeah,
and
yeah.
day.
Well, we've talked about this before, but I've had the opportunity to listen to the original digital master file and then the vinyl simultaneously, and the digital is good. There's no doubt about it. I mean, all the stuff that we recorded at Soundscapes was 96K sample, 24-bit files. Um, uh, but the cutting process and some of the other uh, parts of the molding and the modeling, basically, it it smooths out the rough edges of digital. It just and it gives the bass just a little bit more girth, just a little bit more sort of
I, I, I've been,
boogie.
I've been using the word, you know, everybody talks about compression, right? How when
Hmm.
it goes to 16-bit, things are compressed. I've been using the word resolution. You know,
Hmm.
I think that there's that part of it. I think people are starting to understand the word resolution more now, maybe with digital photography and what the difference is. You know, um, and that's to me like the essence of vinyl is the depth. Because when you talk about depth, 3D depth in stereo, you know,
Hmm.
that kind of loses people that are not real familiar with recording.
Right.
But I mean, I find that saying the word resolution is important. That it
Yeah.
just feels like you can hear, you know, that the classic example is the sustain of a ride cymbal or a crash cymbal, how that sounds radically different between the two um,
Right.
medias.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
No,
where
it's
you,
true.
yeah.
A lot of people would absolutely agree that because of the fact that it's a continuous groove and every little micro vibration is picked up and transmitted, that it is the highest resolution.
Right,
If you start
you're getting
slicing up,
more information, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, it's closer to the continuous thought that the music was played at. I mean, digital is good. It's a wonderful transfer medium, but even with its digital file origin, the vinyl that comes from it is just a little bit sweeter. So that's
Most
cool.
of the
Oh,
time.
okay, I'm going to share with you tonight a record that you don't think you know, but you actually know. And this one, I've been cleaning out my mother's house recently and got to flip through our old records. And this is, one of the records that shaped me as a youth. We borrowed it from the library before we owned it. Those were the days. I think we're talking mid '70s. And I present to you Multiplication Rock.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah, yeah.
dude!
So this was an era where
Oh
TV
my
and
gosh, I
Saturday
gotta
morning.
get that.
I know this is really this is such a keepsake. So Saturday morning educational television for kids uh, and records collided and made this wonderful, wonderful piece that it's part of my childhood, and I shared it with my son.
I don't,
Um,
I don't know. I was a like a multiplication champion in third grade. Like I
yeah.
won whatever. I was one of the best multipliers in
Yes.
the class, and I have a feeling that that record probably set me on that path.
I would say
Three
that this
so you're talking about three is a magic number,
three
right?
is a magic number. Yeah, we
Dude,
got Elementary,
that's a
My
hit
Dear.
song. That song is a hit
Yeah.
song.
So says the A&R department.
I love that
It was
song.
a hit. No, but all kidding aside, we're
Not
not kidding. I
kidding.
mean, no, no, no. I mean, I fell in love with Figure Eight
Yeah.
and Little 12 Toes. Those
Do
there was
you,
something about.
do you know any of the musicians or the singers? Does it say anything about that? Because I
Yes.
feel like some of the voices are familiar, right?
Oh, for sure. The most most of the songs are sung by the songwriter and the lyricist Bob Dorough,
Uh,
who I think just passed away recently. But
oh yeah.
he was a really, really great composer and songwriter, and so you'll remember his voice. But the real distinctive voice is Grady Tate, who does "I Got Six" and "Naughty Number Nine." There's also a guest, Blossom Dearie, who's the sort of female child voice on
Dude,
Figure Eight.
as soon as this show is over, I am on Discogs. I'm getting that
Yeah,
record.
oh yeah. Um, Tape. The inner jacket has got a copy of the Tape Legend, so we can see that the reel is too full. Watch out. They did cram a lot of songs on here. I mean, we've got from 2 to 12.
That's not a reissue. That's an
Yeah, so
original.
it's I don't know.
That's so wild that they would put the tape box on
Yeah, no, I think
that
I think this
record.
is a re I think this is a reissue. This is not the one from my childhood, but an
Okay,
incredible
okay,
simulation.
that kind of makes more
Um,
sense.
yeah, uh,
That's cool. I want to see that too.
and, you know, you got lacquer masters on here. You got all the timings. I mean, this is what it was like in the studio.
Yeah,
Before computers, the note taking was a very essential part of the craft. Um, and yeah, when you buy a recording nowadays, or a download or a stream, you really lose all of that sort of tangible history
yeah.
to it, and and a lot of these recordings never start with it. It's because of the proliferation of these digital computer recording studios. This ceremony is not often celebrated anymore, and it was just part of the
One of the
documentation process.
greatest one of the greatest classic rock and roll records of all time. Bob Dylan and the band, the Basement Tapes.
Yeah,
I mean, that record's not ever made if you don't have a reel to reel tape machine, and Garth Hudson sort of becoming a engineer and just recording
right.
everything that was in the room. That's how that record started. I
Yes,
love
exactly.
the story of that
Well,
record.
yeah, I mean the idea of just hey, let's go to a mountain cabin with a tape recorder and our instruments and see what happens.
Hey, are
And
we
then
ever going to
there's
tell
this.
the story? Are we going to tell the story of the day that we held the master tape of "Can't Buy a Thrill" in our hands?
Well,
One of the
I
greatest days of my life.
yeah, so that is actually a great story. Recently, AJ and I found our ways into a mastering studio for a project that will be coming up shortly, released on Soundscapes Media Group. But on that day, the project that had just been cut was the master tape for Steely Dan's "Can't Buy a Thrill." The first edition, the only one that exists, original box. I think it was Scotch 206 tape, and so you can
Now
immediately
we
tell the
know.
era.
Now we know that his master didn't make the final analog
Yes.
productions.
And,
But
and so the other part of this is there
yeah,
was a shootout, basically a
yeah.
mastering engineer shootout. The tape circulated, half a dozen of the nation's top mastering guys, and anyway, our guy was in the running, but we got to hold the tapes, which is, and again, it's a tangible piece of history,
You
and
know
there's
the
only one of them.
the next time we go over there, we're gonna have to ask him if we can hear his version.
Yeah,
Because
that would
he's
be
got
great.
it. You know he's got it.
Absolutely,
Anyway,
absolutely. Hey, I want to draw your attention to a couple of articles I found recently. First of all, um, Analog Planet. I know you follow them. Really great place for information on anything vinyl and music. Um, this particular article caught my eye. It was the Analog Planet's top LPs of 2022, best archival releases. And have you had a chance to see the article on
I did.
Analog Planet? Yeah,
I
I
did.
mean,
I would put number 10 higher, but I did. I have the box set. I bought the deluxe package. I'm starting to collect these. I have number 10. Here's
mhm.
Cahoots, and it's these box sets of the band. All the reissues of the band
Yes,
are
yeah,
gorgeous, and
yeah,
this is remixed by Bob Clearmountain, and this record, um, obviously super important to me personally because it's my favorite band, but this record was one of those that didn't really sound great when it was recorded and made. So it really benefited from Clear Mountain going back and
yeah,
remixing it. And actually the Stage Fright, I feel the same way about Stage Fright. Stage Fright, the original was a little harsh,
hmm
and Clear Mountain, if anything, that one's a little too weird because there's something about the harshness of Stage Fright that
yeah.
has kind of like a indie alt rock vibe, that we know now. Back
Yeah,
then,
it
nobody knew
was.
what that was. So that one, I'm a little torn. It's fun to hear the new one, but the original is great. This one, though, it is mind blowing. It's mind blowing. If you know this record and you like it, and maybe you just like the band and you don't know this record, the new reissue is what you want to get. It's spectacular. So there you go. It's higher on my list. But
Yeah,
what else? What else we got here?
no, that's good. Well, I mean,
Yeah, this
there's
is great.
uh,
I love XTC Mummers. A
XT,
great record.
XTC.
I might
Yeah,
go
I
get
mean,
that.
they've got Beatles Revolver, of course. Bowie Hunky Dory. I mean,
Oh,
uh,
I have what number is the
oh,
Who? The Who
oh,
Abbey Road
sorry.
Half Speed. I've got that too. That's
Yes,
great.
yeah. Sorry, I was looking at my next article I wanted to share with you.
Oh,
Anyway, I just wanted to say that the beauty of of this box set that you just presented, the Cahoots, is that it's an entire body of work that has been revisited and refreshed and really becomes the presentation of their whole deal. And
the book is
it's
freaking
it's
phenomenal.
and what it's really a review of a body of work, which is you have to have created a bunch of stuff in order to pull the stuff together.
All the
Mm,
track
yeah,
listing and everything, and the story of the band, and then all the advertising that went with it. By the time this record came out, they were huge.
sure, sure, sure,
But
sure.
then there's
But
lithographs here. It's unbelievable,
yeah,
and
yeah,
the box is
I love the
beautiful.
care, the
Yeah.
artwork, and the care that goes into. Again, it's not just an audio um, revival. It is or a review. It's a graphic and audio collection. Yeah.
I haven't been disappointed with any of these the band reissue box sets. They're
Yeah.
to me, and I'm a picky guy, and this is one of my favorite bands. This is the great. Every time they come out, it's
Yeah.
like it's the best day of my life.
Yeah. Well, I think when you're a super fan of a particular artist and you can hold such a precious collection of all their works and so many visual images in one place, you can really just have that experience of just diving in and having your particles all activated by theirs, and I think that's a real cool thing. And the box sets have really become an art form of their own, and an artist has to rate in order to get there, but when they do, you've got a wonderful collection like this that is collective work worthy. And yeah, thanks for sharing that. Okay, let's see. I was going to share with you an album that really moved me a couple of years ago. This is the John Legend and the Roots, "Wake Up." What can I say about this record? I think it's a salute to the format. It is so rich and soulful that it just absolutely, it's vinyl worthy. It's just it's deep.
Is it
So
all original music?
all original music, blue 180 gram vinyl, um, double album. I can't remember if this is. Yeah, it's full of music, 33 RPMs. Um, I can't say enough about it. The recording is great. Lovely gatefold in the band. It really gives you that.
Nice. That's a cool shot.
Yeah, that warehouse. Band in a warehouse. Grit.
Did
Yeah, you got to listen to this.
Who produced it?
Questlove,
Yeah.
And John Legend.
Silly question.
And John Poyser.
That was a silly question.
Yeah.
Of course I did.
Yeah. Anyway, this is great package.
Yeah. Cool.
Highly recommend it.
All right. I'll check it out.
All right. We've got a run on a little bit late, so I'm just going to get to the gratuitous self-promotion portion of our Love Fest.
That's my second.
You want to enjoy some really
second favorite
Glenn Ferris.
Yeah, second favorite media final.
We just had some really great news. First of all, we got a review of this record popped up in France, and we sold a bunch of records there, which pleases me. So we've sold these records in Britain and in France, as well as the U.S. Glenn Ferris has got a great story. We've told it before. The package is amazing. The records sound great. Trombone jazz. It's fresh and contemporary, but classic and vintage. So it's got a little bit of everything. A lot of energy.
A home run, Paul. Animal loves a home run.
Thank you. I believe so. And the other good news is the Glenn Ferris Italian Quintet will be recording new material this year. I've confirmed it. They'll be getting together at the end of April in a remote studio in Italy and banging out 8 or 10 more tunes, and we'll have another vinyl. We're hoping to take it to download and streaming platforms, as well as this will be our first project that we will release in immersive. So watch the space on that. But that's awesome. The second dimension of soundscapes.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. As always, we'd love for you to follow us on Facebook and like us on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. All of the notes that brands that we mentioned and artists we mentioned will be in the notes, and we hope to see you again. I always enjoy talking with you about music on vinyl, AJ.
Thanks, buddy.
It's a dream.
Can't wait till the next time.
Okay, until the next time.
Good night.
Ciao.